Manchester United back in the Premier League action this Sunday, and we've got a really difficult tie against Everton, and this is it for Manchester United. It's now make or break. If we fail to beat Everton on Sunday, then that is the top four gone for Manchester United, and it will be Europa League football next season. And to be honest, we are the poorest team out of the top six teams, no question about it. There is a massive gap between 6th and 7th, but out of the top six teams, we are the poorest. We don't deserve to be in the top four. We have been absolutely abysmal all season, barring a little run when Solskjaer took over, but bar pretty much all the rest of the season, we have been absolutely abysmal, and I don't think we deserve anything other than to finish in the 6th position, where Manchester United are most likely going to finish. And this is a really difficult game for Manchester United against Everton. But I personally think that we should just fuck the team over and start playing giving some different players a chance in this team, because so many of these players are performing like absolute fucking dog shit. They really are. There are just too many passengers in this team of late. Really, really poor. And Solskjaer has questioned some of these players, and I mean, I don't know if he's going to get criticised, but one player that I believe that he's kind of criticised but hasn't sort of dug him out completely, Anthony Martial, who's been very, very poor lately. There's Lingard, who's been very, very poor. There's Ashley Young, who's been very, very poor. But some of these players just aren't good enough for Manchester United. I mean, Lukaku's not scoring goals. Rashford's not scoring goals. It is just so many players. I mean, Pogba hasn't been great lately. Like, I thought he was a bit better against West Ham, but hasn't been nowhere near at the level that Manchester United have seen of him beforehand. But too many players are just performing poorly or aren't good enough. And I think Manchester United need to rip up the team for this game and play some players, give some other players a chance. I really do, because what difference can it make to Manchester United? If these players are performing so poorly, if other players come into the Manchester United fold, then I don't see what difference it's going to make. If they perform poorly as well, it is no different. I mean, we have seen, I think in his last few games, 4 or 5 games, Anthony Martial's had, I think, 4 shots on goal, and all of them have been off target. It is absolutely dreadful for Martial, a player who's on 250 grand a week. He's just not been good enough for Manchester United. It's been 4 seasons of underachievement for him. It really has been poor from him, and he's a player that I think his future should be on the line, along with the likes of Lingard, Ashley Young, Smalling, Jones. So many of these players shouldn't even be at Manchester United, or shouldn't be starting games for Manchester United. And this is a massive test for Manchester United. I don't think we're going to get anything at Everton anyway, but it is a massive test. And I know some people say it would be a gamble if we rotated and played players that haven't played a lot of football, but we're playing so dog shit as it is. Well, I just don't see what difference it's going to make. Now, he's probably going to go with, obviously, David Hale being goal, but he's probably going to go with Ashley Young, again, Delo as the other full-back, and then Smalling and Lindelof probably will be the back four, because Shaw's banned. But Ashley Young should not be playing for Manchester United. Now, I think Ethan Laird is injured at this moment in time, so it's a bit unfortunate, but he's going to play Ashley Young. Regardless of how dog shit Ashley Young has been for Manchester United in recent weeks, he's going to play him regardless. Paul Pogba will obviously play in midfield, along with probably Matic and Fred. Probably, I reckon Matic will come straight back into the fold, and then the forward line is just an absolute... I don't know what forward line he can go with, because all the forward line are not performing nowhere near to the standard that Manchester United require. There hasn't even... I mean, you can get away with 1 or 2 having off games, but every one of Manchester United's forwards are not performing well enough, and probably none of them deserve to be in the starting lineup at the moment. But it's probably going to be... Oh, I just don't know. I mean, he might well go with Rashford, Lingard, and Martial, but that front three have just not been good enough. I personally would just fuck that off and just play the likes of Chong, or have Chong on the bench, and maybe play Greenwood and Sanchez and maybe Rashford as the front three. I mean, it cannot do any worse. I know some people say that Sanchez has been so poor. He hasn't at Manchester United. I admit that, but the others have all in recent weeks had their chance, had opportunities, and none are performing anywhere near the level that Manchester United should be. Lingard and Martial have been so poor. I don't know if he's probably gonna have Sanchez on the bench. Greenwood probably won't even be in the squad. now that Sanchez is back, but he deserves an opportunity at some point, Greenwood, to showcase what he is about. I mean, 2 assists in his last 223 games and 1 absolute fantastic strike from a free kick. Just been absolutely brilliant this season. And when he's played in games for Manchester United in the first team, hasn't really. I mean, that last game where he played against West Ham were much the better team. Manchester United playing horseshit in that game, and he stuck out on that right hand side and didn't really get a lot of chance to get on the ball for Manchester United against Paris Saint-Germain, who didn't even touch the ball, I don't think, because Paris were dominating the play, and against Arsenal we were 2-0 down when he come onto the pitch, so we were losing that game and playing like horseshit. And Manchester United need to, if we want to give these guys a go, we've got to be giving them 60, 70 minutes. There's just no point in giving them 10 minutes at the end of a game while we're playing like absolute horseshit and expecting Greenwood to come on, a 17-year-old to come on and just absolutely change a game round. It's just not going to happen. He won't even be on the substitutes bench, neither will Chong or any of them, because Sanchez will be on the bench, and Lingard and Marshall will probably start. If they don't start, it will probably be Juan Mata that starts, and to be honest, Juan Mata's going in the summer, so I don't see why Mata should even be getting games in from the bench anymore for Manchester United. I think we should be looking to next season. That the top 4 is just, for me, it just isn't going to happen now. Manchester United have got 3 difficult games which are going to kick Manchester United's chances down. I really do think this game against Everton, Man City and Chelsea, unless we win at least 2 of them games, which I just don't see happening, then top 4 is just not happening. Realistically, we need to win all 3, because if we lose 1 game, then we're going to have to be relying on Arsenal probably losing 2 games between now and the end of the season for Manchester United to stand a chance of getting in that top 4, and Chelsea will also have to slip up against Manchester United and probably another one as well, which I just can't see happening, to be honest. I really can't. I think that one of them 2 will make that top 4, and it's so many games early on in the season. You've got to look back and look at how horseshit we were, where we've slipped up against teams that were playing poorly, the likes of West Ham, when earlier in the season when they were playing poorly. We've fucked up against the likes of Brighton and shit teams that Manchester United, no disrespect to them, should have been beaten. And obviously this isn't all Ollie's fault, and not at all. And we've just got to see where we go in the summer. It's going to be a massive summer. But I think the likes of Sigurdsson, and of course Manchester, is probably Everton's best player. Richarlison's a bit like Anthony Martial, will have good games and will have dog shit games as well, but he's a player that could cause Manchester United problems as well. They're 2 players, but they've been strong lately at home in the Premier League. They've beaten Arsenal 1-0 and Chelsea 2-0, so I think they're going to get the job done in this game. I mean, I know people can look at that game against Fulham and think, well, Fulham beat them, but Fulham were at home, and the pressure is off Fulham now that they're relegated. The pressure is really on Manchester United to get the job done in this game, and there really is, because some of these players are playing for their future at Manchester United, and obviously the top 4 is still pressure for Manchester United, because Manchester United should be in Europeans elite. Even finishing in the top 4 is a disastrous season for Manchester United, but finishing outside the top 4 this season, I think is absolute calamity for Manchester United. I really do. Considering the work that's got to be done at Manchester United to turn this club around, this is probably going to be the hardest one to turn it around from. So many players. I mean, in the past we've been able to get the likes of Zlatan, Pogba, Falcao, Di Maria into this club, when sometimes we haven't had Champions League football, and some of these players have come to Manchester United for massive transfer fees or massive wages. But I think it's going to be too hard this time to do that without Champions League football. I really do. You're looking at Ajax's centre half, Delet, is it, or however you pronounce it. Players like that are not going to come to Manchester United without this Champions League football. They're going to fuck off to the likes of Barcelona. It's going to make it really difficult. So many clubs now, the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City and Real Madrid and Barcelona, are spending so much money now that it's just become Manchester United, not in Europe, in the Champions League, has made it so, it's making it harder and harder each season now to get them top players in at Manchester United, and we're going to probably really struggle to get them sort of players, and we will have to pay over the odds for the likes of Koulibaly, and I think it's going to be hard to get the likes of Jadon Sancho and players of that ilk if we don't have Champions League football. Someone like Sancho, it may be a little bit easier because he's English, and if you offer him big wages and Dortmund a big transfer fee, you might be able to get him because he's probably not on the wages there. but you've got to offer these players huge wages in order to bring them to Manchester United now if you're not getting Champions League football. And bringing in a decent amount of one big name player's got to come in early doors in order to try and get that snowball effect of others thinking, hang on a minute, Manchester United are at it, they're looking to build something special this transfer window, and if we fast around again at the start of the transfer window, it could be another one like last summer. So Champions League football was really, out of all the seasons, this season for me was massive to get, and it looks like it's not going to happen. But I don't know, we could produce a shock, and I think it would be a shock if Manchester United beat Everton on Sunday with the way that they've been playing at home. I'm going to say that Manchester United lose this game 2-1. I just think that with our forwards at this moment in time, we're not scoring enough goals, not creating enough, and not taking enough of the chances that we are getting in order to get us over the line in this difficult game. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the game. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll talk to you all again soon. See ya.